Hi there, my name is Tom and I love wrenching on cars. I like all kinds of cars, but prefer turbocharged ones. I've been posting up build stories on my website for a long time, but now I'm trying something new, video. In our last episode, I mentioned that something different had taken the place of my old turbo Miata. I thought it would be fun to play a little game of Guess the Car with you guys, and showed you this short teaser video. I was surprised to see so many great guesses. As of today, we've received 69 replies, and here's how they break down. As you can see, most of you thought I'd picked up an RX-7. Right behind that was the Mazda 6 or Mazda Speed 6, followed closely by the Mazda 3 or Mazda Speed 3. This was fun, and I appreciate you guys replying. While I would love to own any of the cool cars that you guys guessed, as I'm known to do, I had to change it up a little bit. You're looking at a 2004 Mazda MPV ES. Out of all the guesses, 2 of you got the correct model. Since that was a tough one, I'm going to call you both winners. So here are their YouTube names, which I'm not going to attempt to pronounce. And here's your special shout out. A piece of original artwork I created that I call Epic Dragon Wagon Space Flyby near YouTube Super Friends. Well played, gentlemen. Send me a message if you would like it in the stunning desktop wallpaper size. Don't feel bad if you're not familiar with the MPV. It was always the dark horse of minivans. It offered great features, good power and economy, a smaller size that many deemed just right, and an actual sporting nature, which is rarely found in minivans. What helped that sporty feel was that it weighed 540 pounds less and was a foot shorter than the Honda Odyssey. But when it came to sales, the MPV wasn't even in the conversation. Even though the MPV was an excellent value at the time, competitors like the Dodge Caravan, Honda Odyssey, and Toyota Sienna blew it away. Due to this, Mazda later replaced the MPV with the compact Mazda 5 here in the US. Given these facts, many used van shoppers don't know about the MPV. This means you'll pay less, while getting something that is a little more unique, yet is just as, if not more reliable than its competitors. For example, the transmissions in the Honda Odyssey from this era are a real issue. But why did I choose a minivan of all things? Well, I've always thought vans were neat, from the cool custom vans of the 70s to the quirky Japanese vans of the 80s. I like them all. I've always thought a really fast van would be great fun too. But before marriage and kids, I would have just been a single dude riding around in a van, and that is not a good look. My quest for a van started last summer when we rented a new Toyota Sienna during our family vacation. Although I resisted at first, I couldn't help but fall in love with the utility and generous space. My kids loved it too, and anyone with a family knows that they're unbeatable for hauling the youngins around. The only downside for me was the size. I felt the Sienna was about a foot too long and felt really wide too. It made parking lot maneuvers cumbersome. Even still, it was a big hit with me. Another factor was that my ISF was just too cramped now that the kids were growing up. It was fine when they were little, but even the sweet V8 rumble couldn't overcome its lack of utility. So after searching for a few months, I found a great one-owner MPV on Craigslist. Incredibly, this one was the exact year, color, and trim that I was looking for. In addition, the previous owners took excellent care of it, as shown by the maintenance records they kept and the overall condition inside and out. So this is the Dragon Wagon. Oh, and about the name, my daughter came up with this, and I thought it sounded pretty good. I instantly imagined taking this thing for a white-knuckle ride on the famous Tail of the Dragon that's just a short drive away. Maybe in a future video. On the outside, the ES trim has the 17-inch wheels, ground effects, blacked out headlights, fog lights, clear taillights, and a rear wing to increase downforce at speeds above 120 miles per hour. It all adds up to a good, sporty-looking van-shaped thing. On the inside, you're greeted with all of the usual clever minivan features, along with power everything, captain's chairs in the second row, and leather everywhere. From the driver's seat, you've got all sorts of storage space, steering wheel controls for the CD changer, and a bunch of carbon fiber trim. The instrument panel looks like it was yanked out of a sports car, and speaking of yanking, check out the column shifter! It's great because it frees up floor space, but I hadn't seen one of these since my '71 Ford Torino. I really love this feature. Above the comfy power driver's seat, you have a huge power sunroof. The sliding side door windows roll down too, so you can really open this thing up. And behind the second row seats, the rear bench seats fold down into the floor, giving you tons of room for diapers, strollers, and other kid junk. There's even a subwoofer back here if you'd like to drop the bass on your offspring once in a while. So now that you've got the tour of the Dragon Wagon, let's get to work on it. The first thing I did when the van arrived was give it a complete detail job inside and out. Now if you haven't heard of competitive vacuuming, here's a clip of some of my best work. It's a fairly new sport, but I believe it'll become an Olympic event or on the X Games or something someday. While I was cleaning up the interior, I also swapped out the cabin air filters. These are easily neglected and can drastically affect your heat and air conditioning when clogged up, so if you've got one, be sure to check it out. Before I detailed the exterior, I started by polishing the foggy headlight lenses that you see here. This is a very common issue with cars these days, and there are many products out there that claim to fix it. I chose the Mother's Headlight Restoration Kit based on positive reviews and the fact that it came with the Powerball drill attachment. It's easy to use. You just wash and dry the headlights, mask off the painted area around them to avoid damaging the paint, and get to work with the Powerball and the provided polish. This is much easier than polishing by hand, which many of the competing products require. It's hard to get a great video of this, but I'm thrilled with the results. I would definitely recommend this kit, especially since it comes with plenty of polish for maintaining your lights or doing more than one car. Next, it was time to get the MPV up in the air for a complete inspection. This is important for any used vehicle you buy, especially if you'll be hauling your kids around in it. I like to use a vehicle inspection checklist so I don't overlook anything. You can find many examples of these with a quick internet search. All of the major areas checked out well, except for a set of tires that needed replacing and a pesky check engine light. While the previous owner told me about this intermittent issue, I kinda thought the light looked like the outline of a racetrack, so I told my wife that it meant race mode was engaged. It turned out to be the infamous P0141 rear oxygen sensor code. These vans are notorious for this issue, so I decided to try a simple fix. I picked up a pack of these spark plug non-foulers at the local parts store. First, I drilled out one of the non-foulers so that the stock oxygen sensor will fit. I then screwed them into the stock rear O2 sensor location. Finally, I threaded in the stock oxygen sensor, cleared the trouble code, fired it up, and voila! The check engine light magically disappeared. Since I had the wheels off, I decided to give the brakes a couple quick coats of duplicolor caliper paint. This stuff works great, and the black color makes old dingy looking calipers disappear behind your wheels. It's an easy job. Just spray the calipers with brake cleaner, mask off the areas that you don't want to paint, and go to work. If you're going for a more durable, glossy finish, I would recommend picking up Duplicolor's caliper painting kit that includes their cleaner. After the paint dries, remove the masking tape and admire your handsome new calipers. Easy work for such a big improvement. Since the Dragon Wagon needed new tires, I ordered a set and had them mounted at the local tire shop. Here they are in the back of my truck. After unloading them, I gave them a good scrub to remove all the tire mounting goo and old brake dust. This van had some pretty sporty Z-rated Falcon tires on it when I got it, but I wanted something a little quieter, long-lasting, and all-weather friendly, so I chose Michelin's Primacy MX V4 tires in the slightly wider than stock 225 55R17 size. After scrubbing, I was bummed to see that the painted finish on the wheels was stained from brake dust. This is common, but instead of repainting the wheels, which wouldn't turn out as nice as the stock finish, I decided to try restoring the finish. Took a little time, patience, and elbow grease, but as you can see here, my 50-50 mixture of 3M polishing and rubbing compounds made the stains disappear. This was so much easier than painting, and as you can see, the wheels now look like new. Well, except for this little bit of curb rash. Since I didn't have any wheel touch-up paint in this color, I grabbed a silver Sharpie and colored over the scrape, which did the trick perfectly. I've done this on wheels in the past, and it will look great for months. That curb rash is history. Our next task is one that I've talked about in the past. Oh yeah, it's time to buff the old lug nuts. It may sound silly, but giving your nuts a little attention will really improve your overall appearance. There are a few different methods. As you can see, the old chrome polish and rag method works well. It takes a long time. That's why I prefer this method instead. Just swish your lug nuts around in your mouth a bit, and they'll be sparkling in no time. However, this controversial lug nut polishing technique does have its drawbacks. For example, while filming this episode, I got a little overzealous and accidentally swallowed a lug nut. At first I was pretty concerned, but after a couple internet searches, I knew not to worry. Because if you do swallow a lug nut, in a couple days or weeks or whatever, you'll get it back. Trust me, you'll get it back. After retrieving that lug nut, I bolted the new tires and shiny wheels back on. They looked great with the painted calipers, and the new tires made a nice improvement on the road too. So that's the Dragon Wagon, a loaded up daddy cruiser built for hauling kids and other stuff while keeping things interesting behind the wheel with a little touch of sportiness. For you fellas with kids out there, for those that plan to have 5 or 6 someday, embrace your inner van lover. You'll find that these beasts are the Swiss Army knife of family haulers. And fun to slide around sometimes too.